Hey guys, my name is Calvin Milliner,
My name is Juan Fuentes.
and today we're doing a video project for our History 114 West in the World class on the Crusades. Later on in the video, there will be some interviews, people that live in this dorm. We're gonna see if they test their knowledge on the Crusades. Okay, so we're back. The first crusade started in 1095, and the Crusades were basically a culmination of two separate historical movements: pilgrimages and holy wars. One of the holy wars was called a jihad, but we'll get into that later. Most crusades were basically pious voyages to sacred shrines to petition for help or for cure.
Alright. The cause of the first crusade was because the Seljuk Turks invaded Asia Minor. The Turks targeted the small Muslim states because of their disunity.
And the first crusade was basically because of a military undertaking which required much organization, movement over both land and sea, and enormous amounts of resources.
Local preachers inspired people of the community, like young and old people, to be involved in the first crusade. The purpose of this was to fight for God, to gain land and plunder, or to follow their Lord.
All right, backtracking on the people involved in the first crusade, women didn't really go. Just basically, a few wives went to accompany their husbands. Otherwise, they would just go as servants, not as fighters, things like that. Children and old people made weapons and supported the fathers and husbands on their way to battle. They made a weapon called a siege engine, which was used to hurl stones across the battlefield to fight off enemies and things of that nature. And there's another crusade. It's called the People's Crusade. This is another people involved in the crusade. These people were local nobles, knights, townspeople, and these people were inspired by Peter the Hermit. These crusaders actually wanted to kill Jews who, like Muslims, did not accept or respect Christianity. Their main objective in the first crusade was to wrest the Holy Land from the Muslims and subject it to Christian rule.
Following up what my partner Calvin have said, the People's Crusade were just peasants. Their first mission was to protect the pilgrimage routes from Palestine to Jerusalem and transport money from Europe to the Holy Land.
Now we're getting into the Second Crusade, and the Second Crusade was sparked by the Seljuk Turks again. The Seljuk Turks just used their power to imperialize and take over whatever property they can possibly take over. They took over the county of Edessa from the Knights Templar in 1144, and this crusade attracted a lot of attention from local leaders like Louis VII of France and Emperor Conrad III of Germany. Both of these leaders had no coordinated strategy on how to go about the crusade. There was no organization to this crusade. Since these leaders had no strategy or no communication, no organization to go about this crusade, they basically walked into a battlefield or a war basically not knowing what to do and not knowing how to defend themselves. On July 24th, 1148, they basically walked into this fight, had a stiff defense. They walked into a stiff defense and was uncertain on what to do. So they just fled. They fled the fight and they lost the war. The Crusades had a lot of importance to it. The Crusades stimulated trade, enhanced prosperity of Italian cities like Venice. Commercial revolution happened because of this. Modern taxation systems were stimulated by the machinery of revenue collection used to finance the Crusades.
Again, and now my partner over here, Calvin, is going to do some questions and interview Mr. Doug about the Crusades.
Hey guys, we're back. You feel me? It's my boy Doug, you know. We're gonna test his knowledge on the Crusades today, man. So, can you tell me when the first Crusade was?
First Crusade? Well, I know what the Crusades are. I'm pretty sure I do. It was battle of religions back in the 10th century. That's about the only thing I know, bro.
Right? Do you know who started the Crusades? Could you guess?
Was it the Romans? Catholics.
Turks.
Oh, the
Turks.
Turks.
Do
Okay.
you know who started the second crusade?
No. Who?
Same people.
The same people, the Turks.
You can start right now. Can you tell me where the crusade started?
Was it somewhere in Asia?
You got it right.
I got
You
it
get a
right.
prize.
I got a prize. Hey,
Snickers bar
okay.
For my buddy here, you know you're not yourself
My
when you're
God,
hungry.
baby, appreciate you.
You're not yourself when you're hungry.
Gotta get them gains up,
Thank
boy.
you. All right.
Shit.
This is our second interview of the day, and today we have
I'm Jock.
and we're going to test his knowledge on the Crusades, particularly the first crusade. All right, so Jock, when did the first crusade start?
I don't know, 1700s.
1095 is when it started. Do you know where it started actually?
Maybe in Africa,
No. Guess again.
South America,
No.
Asia.
Oh, you got it right. Now, I'm going to ask you one last question. Do you know who started the Crusades? It starts with a T. So you can say Ottoman soldier.
The Ottoman Turk. I don't know.
Oh, Turks, you got it right.